What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 146 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And right now I have a poll going on my Discord, so be sure to check that out. I'll have a link in the description below. You can participate in the next ship build poll that I'm doing. So once you join the Discord, click on next ship build poll, so this way you can vote on that. Anyway, today we have about just a little bit of a lengthy one, 30 minutes, so we're going to be just jumping right into this today. So sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to be picking up right where we left off in yesterday's episode, really trying to bang out the rest of the shuttle base so we can call this area officially done. This is the last thing that I want to do in this area, because I don't want to just keep fiddling with stuff just for the sake of fiddling with it. Anytime I make a change, or if it feels like I'm, switching back between a couple of things here and there in a specific room, it's because I'm not sure what I want to do, and it's important to experiment and try different things out. Now, with that being said, I don't really experiment at all on my episodes. I do that off camera, so that this way I can try to have the best product I possibly can when I'm putting these episodes out. But with that being said, sometimes things don't always pan out the way that you plan them to, or maybe it came out exactly the way that you planned it, but it's just not working. So that's kind of falling into why we're making some last minute tweaks to our shuttle bay, even though haven't worked on this thing in forever. Because the one thing that kind of didn't sit well with me is that the two control rooms on the left and right side, it wasn't really coming out the way that I really envisioned it coming out. So that's my main reason for wanting to come back and fix that. And then also when we had that issue with the outside of the saucer, with the bridge being too big, it just gave me the opportunity there to work on it, to knock out two birds with one stone. By the time that we're done with today's episode, we'll pretty much be done with this area, if I'm not mistaken. And then just moving on to other areas on the ship, because we have a ton of stuff to do on the entertainment deck. We still have to build out the fencing area where Picard had his fencing matches, and then the jiu-jitsu ring where Riker fought his father. That'll be cool to have that. We also need to add in a lounge or two, and then also the park. That will be something that's going to be added into the ship, as well as a green room. So a lot of stuff left to add on the entertainment deck. As far as the crew deck, that area is pretty much done. I gave you guys the template for the crew quarters, so I don't think I'm going to be adding in any more on the crew deck. I'm sorry if that comes off as a cop-out. I really don't intend it to be, but I'm trying to not have this thing blow up to where it's a 300 episode tutorial series. It's insane enough that I'm at episode 146. I really did not intend it to go out this far, but it is what it is, I've got things that I need to get done on this ship before I can call it done, and whatever that takes, it's going to take, but I'm really not going to be stretching this thing out past what I really feel that I need to, and for that reason, that's why I'm not going to be doing anything more on the crew level itself. As far as the crew quarters, I feel like I gave you guys a template. You can add those rooms in wherever you want them. We still actually, and I forgot this in the other episodes when we were talking about what we have left to do, because I have to finish up the mall. But when I do that, the last time I pan around to, I'm going to try to just do that in one episode if I can manage it. So what I'll end up having to do is I'll have to do some experimenting off camera to figure out exactly what I want to do, so this way it doesn't take a lot of time to get that done. And after that, I think we'll only have a couple of other extra things to do really on the ship. We'll have some stuff we have to do on the science/medical deck, and then we'll have to close up the back end of engineering, and then we just have to put in a couple of windows in the registration, and then the ship is done. But it's just a matter of getting to that point. So we still have a little bit of work to do, but it is what it is. However many episodes it takes to get this done, that's what it takes. And I'm not trying to rush it. As I've been asking some people, like, hey, there was some people that have been asking me, like, hey, why don't you do a couple of smaller builds in between the Enterprise and your next build? And, excuse me. That's something I want to do, but right now I just want to focus on getting the Enterprise D done. That's really my main concern. I don't want to stretch myself out too thin. And it just, you got to understand, the Enterprise D has ended up being a massive undertaking. I've been working on this thing for over a year at this point, Um, and I honestly, I don't think that I'll ever be doing another ship this big again, just because of the sheer time it's taken me to complete it. Um, I liked when I did the Cerritos and the Disco Air Enterprise. Even the Cerritos was the shortest tutorial that I've done so far for a large scale ship. That was only like 54 episodes. The Disco Air Enterprise, I think, ended up being like 80 or something like that, or 84, which isn't horrible. But there's even things that I can do there to trim that down. And I've already have been planning ahead as far as how I'm going to be doing some of my tutorials going forward, um, to try to help alleviate that a little bit. You guys won't see it on the Enterprise D, but you'll see it more when we get into the next ship build, which will more than likely be Voyager, unless by some stroke of a miracle I get a bunch of people on the Discord that vote for a different ship. But that's probably going to be what the next one is. And then you'll see that more too with the Star Trek Beyond Enterprise A retrofit that I have coming. I just have kind of been looking at my tutorials as far as how I've been doing them, and I think I have a better way of where I can go about it that'll help trim down the time that it takes me to do these episodes. But more of that to come. We really won't be able to get into that until we get into the next ship build. Right now we're trying to get the Enterprise D wrapped up, so we're adding in we're adding in a layer on the inner side of our um, shuttle bay. This is almost, I call this the hub of the shuttle bay. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I wasn't feeling the gray, and now I'm not even feeling the white concrete. So, or the yeah, the white concrete. So now I'm switching to the white quartz because that's a little bit whiter instead of the cream color, like a cream gray. It's crazy. I'm really looking forward to when this thing is done. Not only because I've been working on it for so long, but also, like, I'm looking forward to doing the tour of this thing when it's done, because this thing is just absolutely massive. This build. And it's hands down the biggest ship that I've ever attempted to do on Minecraft. And I'm actually surprised with how well it came out, because I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull this off. And, just kind of cool the way that worked out. But, again, with that being said, the chances of me doing another ship this large again, I don't see it happening. Like, I've been having some people recently, there's been an influx of people asking me for the Enterprise E. And that's another ship I was thinking about. Like, okay, like if and when I do the Enterprise E, how big would I make it? It's not going to mesh with the builds that I've done so far. But if and when I build the Enterprise E, more than likely what I do is I'd probably just build it within the scale that I built, like my Disco Air Enterprise or 2009 Enterprise, on a smaller scale, so that I can do that within a shorter period of time. And I think that's just going to be how I do all my builds going forward, just to kind of help out on the time it's going to take me to do it. if I knew like ahead of time that I'd be working on this, like when I started the Enterprise D, if I knew like when I started, like I'd be working on it well over a year after I started it, I probably wouldn't have started. I probably wouldn't have built it at this scale. I probably would have built it a lot smaller. We just have a couple more rows to do with that white concrete. All right, that's done. That's looking pretty good. So now we're going to be going inside the area that's going to become our control room, and now we're going to clear some of that out. So again, we have to be very careful with what we're deleting. As you can see how easy that was. I went right into the outside of the ship. Again, here you can see this. Basically, all this in the middle where we're at right now, we can't delete any of it going upward. Like what we have in the ceiling, that's what we have. So we're going to have two things we're going to have to figure out here. Our floor situation, then also our turbo lift. We're going to have to build out a turbo lift in the very center here to get up into that area. Um, Originally, I thought about doing a staircase, but then like I quickly changed my mind on that because it's something that you just don't see on Federation ships. Now, with that being said, the Galaxy class does have a staircase on the bridge that goes down to the conference room, but you never saw that in the show. And I was originally I was going to have that on the ship, but then I ultimately decided that I was just going to scrap that because I didn't have the room to add it in. Because if I would have added in that staircase, that would have come down directly into the area that we're in right now. And I really wanted to focus this area specifically on the shuttle bay. Because this is going to be one of the things that's going to help us selling the scale of the ship, you know. We spent all this time building this thing out, so it's important to me that we add in these, you know, try to add in these larger than life rooms to make the ship feel a little bit more grandiose than it is. Because all these things are going to factor into it by the time the ship is done, you know. When we take into the account all the layering that we've done with the windows to make the ship feel bigger on the outside. And then when we come on the inside of the ship, we have these gigantic areas that we've designed to help with the size of the ship. Or to help make the size of the ship feel larger. That'll, you know, is going to help us out a lot too. So this line here, the white terracotta going around, or the white concrete, excuse me, not terracotta. That's going to be a problem right there because we're kind of stuck for the most part as far as how far back we can go. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to figure out. Half slabs could be a thing to do to try to help out with that, but then what it would do also is I would delete the ring of the white concrete that's showing up on the outside of the ship that we have there is kind of like a divider between the two the two layers. To try to compensate for that a little bit, I'm going to delete some of this curve here in the front and then add in another layer on the sides. So basically what I'm doing here is that we're just pretty much slightly shifting the room that we have established. We're bringing it out by one so that we have a little bit more of a walkway to work with, because as you can see, we really we're tight on space. We don't have a lot of space to work with. So to try to compensate for that, we'll just add outward, so this way it gives us a little bit more of room to walk around and we're not bouncing off the walls when we're trying to walk through this area. But this is about as good as it's going to get. Anything past this, now we're making the area too big. Even right now, like we're tiptoeing on making this area too big, and we want to make sure that we don't do that. That's very, very important, especially since the amount of time that we've put into this so far. So I think what the change that we're making now, that's going to be it. We're not going to make this control room any larger. All right, so now that we did one on the one side, now we're over on the other side, and we're just, again, we're following the same step while it's fresh in our minds, just to make sure that both sides match. And then once we're done with the outside, then we're going to go back into the inside and clean this up. Don't worry about this back wall here. We'll clean that up. All right. Now that we have that added, now we're just going to delete the glass that we have, and then we're going to shift it out by one block. Doing pretty good on time. We still have about 12 minutes left. All right, we're in pretty good shape. Now it's just a matter of cleaning out this area here and you'll see what I mean. Now that we've moved this out by one, we'll have just a little bit more room to walk around in. What we'll have to do now, though, is that underneath us, we're going to have to add in a couple more rows of half slabs for our floor. Yeah, see, we're kind of Stuck on space there. Like I said, a lot of this is just a facade to where we can just walk around this area. To be honest with you, my main concern is just when we first walk up into this room, the center, is really what my concern is. Being able to maneuver around that, adding in a couple of consoles, but on the sides here, yeah, I wanted in a perfect world, I want enough room to where we could walk around. But I'm not really too concerned about it. We're still going to do the best that we can, but the sides here, this is just glorified facade. Just to have something to look at when we're down on the floor to make the room feel, make it pop a little bit more. Come to think of it, I'm actually, I think I'm going to be incorrect in what I said before that we won't have another episode to do, because if I'm not mistaken, we still have more that we have to do here, because I don't think we're going to finish what we have within the amount of time that we have here today. Still have about 9 minutes, but we have to do the floor. We have to add in all the consoles, and then that's not even counting the turbo lift that we're going to have to add in to get up into this area. So, yeah, we are going to have to touch back on this at least one or two more times, but it's all good, because it'll be worth it. I think that this is going to make the ship look a lot cooler. And again, you don't have to make these changes that I'm making today. If you feel that this is overkill and you don't want to add it, hey, move on from it. At the end of the day, all the stuff that I'm adding on this tutorial is just things that you could possibly do on your own build. I'm giving you suggestions on, different things that you could build that might look pretty cool. You see this one row goes back by 2. I got to fix the left side as opposed to this side. Easiest thing to do is just count this out to make sure both sides match up. But that's the main thing that I think that's tripping me up there, that on the right side is going back by 2, and I haven't done the second block going back on this side yet. Now I'm just double checking my pattern to make sure everything matches up. Especially as we're adding in layers, this is where it could be really easy to start making some mistakes. And it looks like both sides match up, so now I'm just cornering that off like I did on this side. And even this whole side here, we got to clear this out. We're looking pretty good so far. Yeah, once we have this cleared out, it'll be a little bit easier to figure out what we need to add in to finish this area off. And we still, again, we need to do the floor. Yeah, because I really don't want to bring the floor down more than what it's at already. So that's what you can see. I'm just, adding in basically the layers just to close it up. Um, and then that's it. Once we do the front side, we have to do the back side because I believe there's a row on each side that needs to be filled in. Yeah, because the other thing too, with the ceiling, want to make sure we're not bringing it down too much, because it needs to look like we can fit shuttle bays or shuttlecraft inside these bays that we've created. That is the one and only downside to this room, is that my ceiling does come down a little bit, but I think we'll be able to make it work. Because what I'll do is when this room has been completed completely, I'll add in a couple of shuttlecraft, um, just to make the room feel more full and completed. Again, we're just looking for the holes. All right. We've just got this side to do, and then we'll be done with it, as far as the floor goes. And then I think that'll end up wrapping up today's episodes. We're getting down to the last 2 minutes. We've got to figure out these two corners here, because it's not blending in with the sides. So we're gonna have to try to accommodate for that and try to fix it. Room's not looking too bad though. I think it honestly looks better than what we had before. Remember I told you not to worry about those few blocks that were in the ceiling? By adding this lip, that'll eliminate that problem. Looking pretty good. Pretty happy with how this whole area came out. Feels very much like the shuttle bay and the primary shuttle bay on the Enterprise D. And this is what basically you just have to think about when you're building your ships. You can deviate from things here and there, but I think the most important thing is, does it feel like the ship that you're building? And as long as it does, you can make exceptions on certain things and take liberties. Make it more of your own and have a little bit more of an artistic freedom with it. But I think that's going to wrap us up today. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And new subscribers, don't forget to hit notifications on so you always get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, you can always catch my new Minecraft episodes dropping Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Also, don't forget to check out my new reviews that I'm doing on Star Trek Strange New Worlds that are dropping on Wednesdays. If you have any questions regarding today's episode, be sure to drop a comment below. Definitely love hearing from everybody, or in Discord. Yeah, I think that's going to do it today. Just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe weekend, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.